Is an entrepreneur born or made? Is that the question? Well, this is an easy one. As an entrepreneurship professor, I clearly think that we can help make entrepreneurs. And I'll use an analogy, or is it a metaphor? I'm never sure quite what it is. But think of Michael Jordan. He was born with certain traits. He's really tall. He can jump. But it took a coach to really bring out the talent that he had. Without a coach, he wouldn't have learned how to shoot, he wouldn't have learned how to pass, he wouldn't have learned how to do all the things that have made him such a great basketball player. I think entrepreneurs, and maybe this gets back to the earlier question, entrepreneurs are born in the sense that they're more able to take on risk, they are more able to handle uncertainty. But I think through some coaching and some training, they're more likely to be successful because we can help them reduce the risk by anticipating some of the hurdles that they're likely to face.
Otra pregunta, what do you think, how do you think speculation about the U.S. economy will affect entrepreneurs?
Similar to the previous question, but there's a couple of things that have been true in previous recessions. And as people tend to lose jobs, they're more likely to start entrepreneurial businesses. And so you'll have people who are being laid off over the next year or two who might go out and that might be what we call a push entrepreneur. They're pushed out of that security blanket and they may start a business. And if they do well, it could be the leading edge of the next great economic cycle in the country. I'm still hoping we won't have too severe of a recession. Never know.
Zach, can you share with us three of the best histories of your students related with business that they are right now operating?
Of my students personally?
Your students or students of the university?
Yeah, but I gave you the old timers. I'm going to give you some examples of my more recent students. And actually, these are students that I've all had, that have all come through my door. I'll give one that I'm really excited about now. He's in the process of starting a company that's called Feed Resource Recovery. And this is a clean energy space. And what he is creating is an anaerobic digester to turn food waste into energy and fertilizer. And what he found in his research is that grocery stores throw away 2 tons of food every day. And the problem for that with grocery stores is that it's not only really wasteful, but it costs a lot of money for them to move that food waste to the dump. And so what he has developed is a process where they just dump the food waste into something that's the size of a semi-trailer in the back of the store. And then it feeds it into this anaerobic digester. It generates enough electricity to offset some of the costs that the store would have in running the refrigerators and their lighting and things like that. More importantly, it eliminates all the tipping fees that they have associated with food. So their waste volume costs go way down. And the byproduct is a nice organic fertilizer. And the stores are trying to close the loop in that they will provide this organic fertilizer free to the local farms in Massachusetts where he's starting. And so he has a nice closed loop cycle. And what I think is really exciting is that this is an expensive proposition to get into place. And he was able to convince one of the large chains, grocery chains in New England, to buy the first product before it was even built. And so they gave him $420,000, and he's in the process of building that first prototype. And even better than that, if that first prototype is successful, which I think it will be, they have already signed a contract to buy so many units over the next 5 years. And based upon that, chains in other regions, so it's an exclusive contract with this chain, chains in other parts of the country are also contacting him and trying to set up contracts to buy the product in the future. So if he can build this, if he can overcome that technology risk, he's on track to earn $14 million within 3 years, which is very exciting. I'll give one more example. This is a company called Moda Media. This was a young Indian guy who came to Babson and did what I told you to do. He is the world's best network. He had an idea to set up a business that would allow you to buy things with your cell phone, And if you bought your coffee at Starbucks, it would keep track of how many you bought and would automatically give you that 10th one free, for example. The company was able to raise around $30 million in venture capital. Then he saw another entrepreneurial company that was allowing you to scan your item as you were grocery shopping. And then when you went to the checkout, all you did was turn in the scanner and that would process payment, so you didn't have to wait in line. And so when they bought that company, they raised another $20 million in venture capital, and they seem to be well on track to being very successful. Now here's another really good lesson about this guy. He was young like many of you. It was his idea, but he knew at some point they would need to bring in a seasoned CEO, a balding guy, a gray-haired guy, whatever the case is, to give credibility to the business. And he was willing to turn that company over and become a VP of business development for them. And so I think you as a young entrepreneur need to understand what your role will be at the beginning, at the middle, and as the company continues to grow. He'll still do quite well if the company goes public or is bought.
Aquí tenemos otra pregunta que es referente acerca de qué medidas se deben de tomar para implementar y generar una cultura emprendedora.
This is something that I think happens over generations. So if we go back 30 years ago in the United States, we didn't have a very entrepreneurial culture. Everybody was still expected to go work for General Motors or Ford for the rest of their life. But as job security became less certain, we started to notice that there's a lot of people in the economy who are creating great entrepreneurial companies, and so they became role models for a new generation of young Americans, if you will. And so that transition has happened over time. And I think what's great is that the media celebrates success stories, and so everybody knows the story of Facebook and this young guy who created a exciting company and it's worth $1 billion plus on paper. And everybody goes, well, I could do that. And so it kind of creates this culture of, yes, I can. So getting those role models, publicizing those role models, and making a transition over time is the way that will probably happen.
Muy bien. Bueno, pues creo que tuvimos una excelente presentación aquí de Zacharakis, Zacharakis. We appreciate your visit with us this week, and we are expecting you in May again. And we think that if we can get at least one idea of this conference and we put that idea in the market, with that we will say that everybody can win a lot with these ideas. I think the most important of this conference is to get the business community, the students, and get ideas from this interesting conference that we present to us. Monterrey Tech Campus Guadalajara is doing a great effort to bring these academic leaders. I will ask Isaac Bugatero to give you a special recognition for this conference, and thank you very much for your time for being here. Ahorita básicamente pues sigue el programa, a las 7 de la noche tenemos nuestra siguiente conferencia, estará el secretario de Economía, Sergio García de Alba, también desde este programa de líderes académicos, impartiendo una conferencia.